In every crowded room, there is someone who does not need to shout. They do not fight for attention. Yet people lean closer, curious, unsettled, and strangely compelled. Their secret is not luck. It is psychology. Consider the salesperson who never raises their voice, yet leaves with every signature, or the colleague who influences decisions without appearing to push. They know how the mind bends, where human behavior can be nudged, and how silence often speaks louder than words. This is not magic. It is not manipulation in the movies. It is the hidden structure of influence, the silent code that governs power. Today, you will uncover 7 dark psychology tricks, understand them, and you gain the power to defend yourself, sharpen your influence, and recognize control before it controls you. Dark psychology is not sorcery, nor is it the stuff of thrillers. It is the study of influence, the subtle tools people use to bend decisions, shape emotions, and steer actions. At its core, it is neutral. Like fire, it can warm a house or burn it to the ground. When we speak of dark, we mean techniques often hidden, operating beneath awareness. They exploit the shortcuts our brains use to survive a complex world. We all rely on automatic thinking, trusting familiar patterns, following social signals, and reacting to strong emotions without full analysis. These shortcuts, called cognitive biases, make us efficient, but also vulnerable. A skilled manipulator can pull these levers deliberately. They can mirror your words, create false urgency, or trigger fear, and you may never notice. Yet the same knowledge, used wisely, lets you protect yourself, resist undue influence, and guide others with clarity. Dark psychology is a lens. It shows where control begins and where choice is stolen. Now that you know what it is, the real question becomes, how do these tactics actually work in practice? Human beings are wired to trust what feels familiar. That is why mirroring works so powerfully. When you subtly reflect another person's body posture, tone, or pacing, you signal, "I am like you." The subconscious brain interprets this as safety, and defenses begin to fall. Imagine a tense negotiation. One party leans forward, speaks slowly, and folds their hands. The other does the same, not exaggerated but gently matched. Within minutes, the atmosphere shifts. The first party feels understood, even without agreement. Trust, built invisibly, becomes the foundation for influence. The key is subtlety. Mirror lightly, like an echo, never like a mockery. Copying every gesture or word is obvious and breaks rapport instantly. Instead, mirror rhythm, energy, and mood. Do enough for the subconscious to notice, but not the conscious mind. Done correctly, mirroring is the fastest bridge between strangers. It transforms suspicion into connection, and once connection exists, persuasion becomes far easier. But trust can also be built by what you do not say. Sometimes silence, held at the right moment, wields more power than any words. Words have weight, but silence often carries more. In human interaction, empty space creates tension. Most people rush to escape that tension, revealing more than they intend or offering concessions they had not planned. Picture a job interview. You state your expected salary, then stop. You hold steady eye contact. The silence lingers for 3 seconds. Then 5. The interviewer, uncomfortable with the pause, begins to talk. They may add benefits, raise the offer, or reveal inside details. All because you resisted filling the gap. The technique is simple. Ask a direct question, then remain quiet. Do not fidget. Do not interrupt. Do not soften the silence with nervous chatter. Count slowly to 3 in your mind. If necessary, stretch it longer. The other person will almost always break first. Strategic silence is not aggression. It is controlled restraint. A reminder that patience itself is a weapon. By mastering silence, you control tempo, expose information, and tilt the balance of power without saying a word. From silence, influence shifts to scarcity. Another force that compels action, not through what you say, but through what you limit. The human brain is wired to chase what feels rare. This is the scarcity effect. When something seems limited, its value skyrockets, whether or not the limitation is real. Marketers exploit this constantly. Only 3 seats left. Offer ends tonight. Suddenly, rational thinking fades and urgency takes control. People rush decisions, often acting against their own interests, just to avoid missing out. Consider an online sale. A timer counts down, seconds ticking away. Even if the product is not essential, many buyers click purchase, driven by fear of loss rather than genuine need. Scarcity can be used ethically to motivate teams with deadlines, or to inspire action before opportunities vanish. But beware, manipulative scarcity breeds regret and mistrust. After scarcity pressures the mind, another force shapes its choices, anchoring and framing. The silent art of setting the terms of value itself. Every decision begins with a frame. Set that frame, and you quietly dictate the outcome. This is anchoring. The first number or idea introduced becomes the benchmark, even if it is arbitrary. In a price negotiation, a seller may start high, far above expectation. Even if they later concede, the buyer's mind stays tethered to that anchor. A $600 watch marked down to $300 feels like a bargain, even if its real worth is $100. Framing works the same way. Describe a medical treatment as saving 90 out of 100 lives, and it feels hopeful. Say it kills 10 out of 100 and fear takes over. Though the statistic is identical, use this power wisely. Reframe setbacks as lessons, failures as experience. From individual choices shaped by anchors, influence expands outward into the group signals of social proof. Human beings fear standing alone. We look to others for cues, assuming the majority must be right. This is social proof. If everyone else seems convinced, we feel safer joining them. False consensus takes it further. When people believe everyone thinks this way, they conform without questioning. A few loud voices can masquerade as the crowd. Marketers and manipulators exploit this constantly. Endless. 5-star reviews, staged applause, or curated testimonials create the illusion of universal approval. One planted comment online can spark a chain reaction. Readers assume agreement likes snowball, and soon a false trend feels real. But illusions collapse under scrutiny. The antidote is verification. Ask, who benefits if I believe this? Where is the independent proof? Do not mistake noise for truth. From external herds that pressure conformity, we now turn inward to the raw emotions that can be hijacked. Bypassing reason entirely. Logic is slow. Emotion is instant. When fear, pride, or sympathy strikes, the brain stops analyzing and starts reacting. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools of hijacking. A single vivid tale, a child in need, a victim wronged, evokes more action than any chart of numbers. Charity campaigns know this well. People donate more when shown one desperate face than when told of thousands. Outrage works the same way. A viral post ignites fury. Bypassing facts, shaming and awe can silence critics, pulling entire groups into compliance without debate. But emotion is not always the enemy. Used ethically, it inspires courage, solidarity, and compassion. The key is awareness. When a message makes you feel before you think, pause, ask why that feeling was chosen. From hijacking the heart, we move to protecting power's surface. Reputation and image control. Power often survives not on truth, but on perception. Reputation is the long game. The stories whispered about you, the image replayed in people's minds. Control those stories, and you control your influence. This requires selective visibility. Show small wins often. Repeat them until they become your identity. Plant narratives early, before critics define you. If controversy looms, frame it yourself, turning potential weakness into strategic vulnerability. Think in 3 steps. Seed the narrative, amplify it through repetition, and normalize it until it feels unquestioned. Over time, this consistency becomes armor. Even when challenged, the weight of repetition bends opinion back toward your favor. But reputation is fragile. It must be defended with care and corrected sparingly. From building outward influence, we turn inward to ethics, responsibility, and the defense against manipulation itself. Dark psychology reveals the hidden levers of influence, but knowledge is protection as much as power. When you feel pressure, pause. When emotion rises suddenly, ask who benefits. Verify claims independently. Ground yourself before reacting. And remember that awareness itself breaks half the spell. Yet these techniques are not only shields used responsibly, they sharpen leadership. Mirroring builds trust. Silence wins respect. Framing clarifies choices. And emotion inspires courage. The difference lies in intent. Exploitation corrodes, while ethical influence strengthens. Power is not about bending others to your will. It is about guiding wisely, protecting teams, and negotiating with fairness. True mastery balances control with integrity. So here is your challenge. Choose one technique this week. Use it ethically, and watch the results. Control without conscience is hollow, but influence with purpose becomes legacy.